Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So the last update about the upcoming episode of Unfortunate Love was how Neelam finally leaves the Oberoi house after Lakshmi returned to the house and Grandma refused to let Lakshmi go back. So let's continue from there. After Neelam leaves the house, Malishka thinks that who will get her married to Rishi now. So now calls Malishka and asks that who has thrown Lakshmi out and says Lakshmi must have gone away from there crying. Malishka says nobody and says Lakshmi is still here and says that Neelam auntie has left the house and Sonal is shocked. Sonal says to Malishka that this cannot be true and she asks her if she is dreaming. Malishka says dream and she says Neelam still in the house asking Mukesh to bring her back inside. Malishka tells Sonal that Neelam auntie is back and it was my imagination. Sonal says Lakshmi will be sent out and Neelam auntie will stay back. Malishka ends the call and thinks that please God, don't let Neelam auntie go. Karishma asks Grandma if she will not leave Lakshmi's hand even now and says rather than throwing Lakshmi out, you are throwing Neelam's sister-in-law out. Sonia says I cannot see Lakshmi here, throw her out right now. She tells Virendra that they are forcing her mom to leave and Virendra says that Neelam is stubborn. Sonia says that my mom is saving the house and the family from Lakshmi's bad side, but Virendra shouted at Sonia to keep quiet. Karishma asks that why should we not speak? Shalu asked Karishma to speak, but she should say the truth. Ayush asked Karishma to say if Lakshmi has done wrong and says if Lakshmi has done wrong, then tell me, then I will scold her. Rishi says to everyone that Lakshmi has never done anything wrong. If anyone has done wrong, then it is aunt, Sonia and also mom. Sonia argues with him. Rishi says I was silent when you were speaking to dad. He says if you say anything against Lakshmi, then see what I will do with you. Lakshmi shouted at Rishi and says please stop it and says this is happening because of me. All this fight and argument are because of me and says everyone were happy when I was not here and she asks them not to fight or argue because of her and Grandma lifts her hand. Lakshmi asks Grandma to let her go and says I always get happiness in the house. Sonia says we all got pain because of you. Rishi shouted Sonia. Lakshmi says I am leaving. She comes inside and apologizes to Neelam for the pain and says I cannot stay back and I will leave. Neelam says to Lakshmi that she should not leave after doing a favor on me and she asks Virendra to tell her his decision. Virendra says Lakshmi should not go. Neelam asks Grandma about her decision. Grandma says Lakshmi is my daughter. How can I let injustice happen with her? Neelam says I understand and she asks Mukesh to keep her bag in the car. Ayush tried to stop Neelam along with others. Neelam is about to walk out of the house. Grandma holds Neelam's hand and says I told you that she is my daughter and I cannot let injustice happen with her and says even you are my daughter and I cannot let injustice happen with you both and she asks Neelam not to leave. Grandma says to Neelam that if I throw Lakshmi out today, then my heart will break and if you Neelam leave, then my heart will break too. Grandma says you made this house and Lakshmi has put soul into this house and says Lakshmi has saved this house here many times. Grandma says you both have done so much for the house and your comparison can never be done. Grandma says to Neelam that you and Lakshmi are my daughters and a mother likes all her children. She says if injustice happened with one daughter, then I would die being alive. Grandma says I cannot throw Lakshmi out and I cannot let Neelam go away from here as long as I am alive. I will not let injustice happen with anyone. Grandma asks Mukesh to do what she has said and Mukesh says okay and he goes. Malishka says auntie. Karishma asks Grandma what she asks Mukesh to do. Grandma says if your heart is clear, only then you should ask Mukesh any question. Virendra asks that what is Grandma going to do? Mukesh brings Grandma's bag. Rishi asks if Grandma is leaving the house. Grandma says I am not going alone, but I am going with Neelam and everyone is shocked. Neelam says to Grandma that you cannot go. Virendra says what is happening? Everyone wants to go. Karishma and Sonia blame Lakshmi. Lakshmi says nobody will go anywhere and says I will leave. Grandma says I am listening to you since a long time and says you will stay here, but we are leaving. Neelam and I are leaving. Neelam says to Grandma that you cannot go out of the house. Grandma says you have never left me alone, so how can I let you go alone? Neelam says you are forcing me now. Grandma says you have the right on this house more than me and Grandma says I will come with you even if you say no. Neelam says to Grandma that I cannot let you go away from here and everyone smiles. Neelam says to Grandma that to stop you from leaving the house, I will bear anything. I will change my decisions, but I cannot let you go. Neelam hugged Grandma and everyone smiles. Rishi tells Lakshmi that you should not go now because Mom is not leaving, and that means that she has given you permission to stay. Grandma says to Lakshmi that I have warned you that I will slap you if you disobey me. Karishma says, Mom. Grandma says, Neelam said that I am the head of the house, so let me decide who will stay here. She says Neelam decided to leave from the house without thinking how much I will be hurt. Neelam says I cannot think of hurting you, and she apologized to Grandma. Virendra tells Lakshmi that everything is fine and he asks her to stay in the house. Lakshmi says she doesn't want the peace of the house to go because of her. Grandma asks Lakshmi to agree to her sayings. Lakshmi says you have put me in a dilemma. Grandma says I was in a dilemma a while ago too, but everything is fine now. Neelam says that Lakshmi can stay here, but if Lakshmi does anything wrong, then I will throw her out, and then you all will not say anything, and you all will support me. Grandma says I will not interfere, but for now, Lakshmi will stay here, and Neelam, Karishma, and Sonia goes inside. Rishi apologized to Lakshmi and says you have to be scolded always because of me. Ayi says sorry to Shalu. Shalu apologized to Grandma if she has crossed her limit. Grandma says no, you did not do anything wrong. Virendra says no and says there is no limit in love and says if we don't support our loved ones, then whom should we support? Malishka says it is good that Lakshmi came and she asks Rishi if he is happy, and Malishka asks Lakshmi to start the work for what she has come, for what Grandma has called her. Malishka says today is Rishi and my engagement and it should be memorable. She says I have waited for this marriage since years, so it is your responsibility to make it memorable. Malishka taunts Lakshmi and says every day is memorable and you have to make it more memorable by preparing for my engagement with Rishi. Malishka goes away from there and she thinks that Lakshmi is the bad luck of my horoscope and she doesn't know if Lakshmi has returned to put her bad side on her, but she would also take her revenge. Okay guys, so this is how Lakshmi was finally able to stay in the house, all thanks to Grandma's plan of trying to leave the house. Then that was why Neelam decided to stay back. And Neelam leaving the house, as you guys can see, was actually Malishka's imagination. So she was imagining that Neelam step out of the house with her luggage, but it actually did not happen because Neelam was still standing there while Malishka was making the call. So it was during the call with Sonal that Malishka realized that Neelam did not leave the house. So thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a like. Don't forget to share it. And I'll see you all again in my next video. Bye guys.